Shall we all place a bet? How long is Hannah going to be able to sit and talk cross-legged? I don't think it's going to be very long because I already feel in pain. I'd love to know why I can't cross my legs. I can, I just can't do it for a very long time. Anyway, still doesn't work, but never mind. You are currently on a chair, a makeup bag, and a box containing my new hair diffuser adapter. So the setups in here is really professional. Just saying. Hello. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. It's Sunday. I need to stop knocking that chair because it's going to make you wobble. Sorry. It's been a while since we've spoken. I've done a little update. So I hope you're all doing well. Do excuse the fact I'm in my pyjamas. It's a Sunday, you know? It's a rest day. Oh, my hair's really going all about the place, isn't it? Blimey. Yeah, I'm sorry about that too. I said I was going to do these videos a little bit differently, and I thought I'd start now. So instead of doing daily vlogs where a lot of it is just me typing and working away and not chatting, I thought I would do like a weekly sum up of what I've done and include little clips of me doing that work while I waffle, because sometimes I find I can have a really short set of clips and then I'll talk for about an hour and it makes the vlog so much longer. So I thought we'd do it this way. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you've all had a lovely week. Before I start on work, can we talk about how fast April's going? Because it's amazing to me that we're going into the final full week of April next week. And that means that next Friday my book goes on pre-order and next Friday is my birthday. So that's mad. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I don't know how to start. So I don't think I'm going to do this as a general, oh, this is what I did on Monday, this is what I did on Tuesday. I'm just going to talk through where I'm up to so far with book 5. Now, when we last spoke, I talked about how I had the general setup, like draft, general just word vomit page, which I can't show you on the book that's got all the details on it. However, I did bring up the notebook of my first book, and I thought this is a better one for me to show you examples on. And the only difference I will say with this one is that I didn't actually write a word vomit random stuff about everything. So I can't show you that in this book either, but the rest of it I should be able to link. So I showed you that in the last vlog, which is fine because I don't need to go through that again. But as I said, it's just a general page where I write down anything in, well, let's hide that because that's all the book title ideas. It's just a page where I write down anything and everything in any order for ideas linked to the book. And it's just to get all my thoughts on one page, and then I can later on down the line go through and put them in order and add bits, or, you know, it just kind of takes it all out of my brain and gives me one less thing to think about. So I did that. I did that, I think, a couple of weeks ago, like a week or so ago. I then spent a day or two creating a book full of female names, male names, and surnames, which I then generated onto a wheel and helped me to create my character list, which I'm not going to show you too much of because it gives the stuff away. However, it's like Blue Peter, this. Here's one I made earlier. Where is it? So when I did my first ever book, because this was the first book in the series, I wrote more detailed stuff because it was introducing the characters the first time. So this was and you probably can't read this and I'm so sorry, but this was my detectives page and all the notes I made on her. and then I wrote the rest of my characters, and it goes on and on and on. Oh, it actually does. No word of a lie. Wow. I wrote in depth. So, which is very similar to what I've done with the new book. And in doing that, it helps me when I write my Meet the Characters page, which I have done for the next book. I have it all planned, ready. I've just got to type it all up, which makes my life so much easier. If you wanted shorter versions of what I've been doing, you can head over to my TikTok, where I have done two, I think it's two. Let me confirm this before I make claims. So I've done like 2 or 3, I think it's now two Spend the Days with Me, where I've gone through the beginning of like the first, starting up the first book, etc., etc. Not the first book, the 5th book. I don't know what I'm on today. Yeah, I've gone through a day or two of what I've done in a day in regards to book 5, particularly the second one, which, if you were sorry, your face disappeared. If you're curious, it looks a little bit like that. And that's where I was speaking about character names and stuff like that. So that was the day I collected them all. It's exciting, this. I then moved on from characters to locations. I think for this new book, I have 17 locations. The joy with some of them is that because I set these books in the same kind of city, town area, some of the places I've used are places I've already linked to in previous books. So I already have a description for them, which is great, and we love that. So at the minute, I've done quite a few, which you can't see from that distance, but that's fine, because you're not meant to see them yet. However, the little Blue Peter style, I'm pretty sure this is where I started when I planned this book, my first book. So I wrote down locations and ideas and stuff like that, you know, but there weren't as many in this book. I don't think I'd linked anymore. Please, I didn't link anymore. I don't think I did. Marvellous. That's that. So I need to finish that off. But for anyone that's curious, I use Google Images for general places, like if I was to set a scene in a pub or something. Although I do use local places to me for descriptions for buildings and stuff, which I am planning on doing a TikTok for, because I think it's so interesting when you see people kind of go, oh, well, this inspired my location, and it's cool. I like it. So I will put that up on my TikTok so you can check that out. But if it's for like houses and things, I use Rightmove. Honestly, I go on Rightmove and I look at different places on there that are available, and I use the description of them. You never know, one day you might move into a house in my area and read a book and find it matches the description of it, in which case it'll sell for millions in the future. I don't think it will, but you never know, it might. But that is currently where I'm up to at the minute. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't know, stuff like that, it really does take it out of you, especially when you have so many locations that you want to put in, that you almost have to think, okay, well, what elements of the location do I need to include in a description? What parts can I kind of bypass that people could kind of fill in the gaps and add their own? And with characters, it's, well, I don't use a lot of their physical description in my books, mainly because I know people tend to imagine the characters for themselves, and I feel like a lot of physical descriptions, unless you're doing fantasy and your characters are unknown creatures, then yes, description's very important for a character, but no, I can't do it. I've got to put a leg out. I can't do it. I'm not very flexible anymore. I'm turning 26, what do you expect? I find that when it's just ordinary, normal people, I can get away with using minimal physical description, because it's quite nice when you speak to people and they go, oh, I imagined your character to be like, I can say someone's tall and imagine them at like 5'11", and someone goes, oh, I imagine them at like 6 foot. It gives the reader a kind of element to add their own bit into the book, which I don't have an issue with. I'm more than happy for people to do that. And I don't think people want to read page on page description of they have brown hair, blue eyes, freckled skin, whatever, this is what they wear all the time, and people go, I don't really care. It doesn't add to the book. Unless it adds to the storyline and the plot, it doesn't really matter to me. But I suppose writing different genres, it's kind of dependable. Yeah. Okay, cool. But it does take me a while to do these, because you have to give enough description to give them a visual of what you're seeing, but not overdo it. And I'm sure there are people out there who have written their own books who will understand what I'm talking about. Or there'll even be readers out there that have said, I read a book with so much description, it was too much. Or I read a book and there was no description, I had no idea where we were or what was going on. So that's where I'm at. However, I have a new to-do list, because I ran out of all mine last night. I completed my to-do list, I was very proud. So this is what I set to plan on completing going into next week. Oh, I've got to write that on there. I knew I'd forgotten something. Bear with me. And it's really not even work related, if I'm honest. I will only read out the bits that are work related. The other bit's boring, and I'll probably do that today. So I want to finish off my locations. I think I have 5 or 6 left to go, and they are ones I have mentioned in previous books, so I'm able to flick back through descriptions and add any little bits or borrow little bits from other books that I've written if I need to, and so they should be done quite quickly. I then want to complete Clues and Links, which in my first book, I think I might have done this slightly differently. I wrote about the relationships between the different characters. So it was mainly relationships with all the other suspects and the victim. So that's one. And then I'm pretty sure, I really went into detail on that. And then I won't get too close, just in case you haven't read the first book. But I then wrote clues to the murderer, so that who the murderer was and the links to them, how the murderer did it and the links to that, and why, and the links to that you would read throughout the book. And I then wrote a whole page on herrings for the different suspects that might make you think it was them. And then I had a whole page for the murder and the murderer, which I think I will probably also do in my books as well, in this book. And then, the rest of it is plotting. Wow, I really went into detail on this. Oh, bless. Younger Hannah didn't know what she was doing, so she had to wing it. So I want to complete those, and I also want to start creating my timeline for book 5. As you'll know, if you followed along with book 4, I gave myself deadlines as to when I was going to complete everything, and I want to start doing that for this book, purely so that I can see how much of the year I have left and I've got to kind of play with and move about for completing this book. If I haven't already said, this book is coming out around the end of the year, so there's no pressure or anything, but this book has to be done, so I need to get on with it. So I want to give myself a timeline and start giving myself deadlines for things, because that worked really well with book 4. I got to the point where I was ahead of my deadlines by like a whole month, and that motivated me to keep going and to keep pushing. So I'm going to do that for this book and hopefully get the same outcome. I want to start working on my chapter notes. which in my previous book, this is going to get so annoying for people, I can feel it. I actually did this in my other books as well. I did a really brief chapter plan. You'll notice with these, I colour coded it all, which is so cute. Why did I do that? Ah, I had so much time on my hands that I could colour code everything, and now I don't. So I wrote really brief chapter layouts for the different chapters, and then at least I knew roughly how long or how many chapters I was going to have. And you can have a little, I say it's a sneak peek, but you're not going to be able to see it. Which I have already done for book 5, and it is all there in slightly black and white, but very small because I can't let you read it, and I'm sorry. So I would do that, and then on my first book, sorry, the screen keeps going black. I then wrote out a whole plan for each chapter. I mean, at this point, I was also just writing the whole of the chapter in this book, and I would write, again, this is the start of chapter 2, so I would write the beginning of chapter 2 plan, have it all planned out, and then I would just start writing it. This is nuts. Does it blow anyone else's mind that I was doing all this back in 2022, and now we're in 2026, and I'm now planning book 5, and then I started a different structural plan for chapter 3. I would write the structure, the elements, and then added information. Oh, look at me go! All right, Hannah, I'm not doing this now. It's also really interesting to see how my planning has changed throughout the books, or what stayed the same that I haven't even realised has stayed. Yeah. So that's that bit. And then I need to get quotes for marketing for Deadly Greetings. If you've been following along on my social media, so my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook page, I've been uploading different quotes from all of my books each week. So the first week is Academy Assassination, the next week is Rose of the Red Murderers 2, the third week is Festive Foul Play, and the fourth week will be a little sneak peek into Deadly Greetings, which is exciting stuff. So I need to go through and find quotes for that, and then upload said quotes. The only issue with doing that is, when does it go out? Wednesday. The book won't be out then. Okay, maybe next week I'll have to do things slightly differently, because I don't want to give away a quote for that anytime soon. So maybe you can have the first Deadly Greeting quote after the book cover has been released and it's gone to pre-order. Maybe. I'll see how I go. Anyway, I then also need to write my April blog post. This is probably now a good time to say that I've done a little revamp on the website. I wasn't going to until I got a message from somebody that was like, I think your website's down. And then I looked at it and went, the website's down. So I've done a whole new revamp on that. It's all ready to go for book 4 pre-orders, which I'm excited about. I can't wait. But on there, I do a monthly blog post, just updating you generally on what I do, whether it's work or it's personal life or anything. So if you fancy following that along, head over, include your email, and you'll get to subscribe, and you'll get a not a weekly update, because you don't go on it weekly. You'll get a monthly notification or an email when I have uploaded on there. And that's where and that is where you can buy my books. If you buy my books through the website, by the way, I feel like I'm just word vomiting, and I'm really sorry. You get a signed copy of the book. I sign all the copies of my books that leave through the website. You get a free bookmark, you get a handwritten note card from me, and it normally comes lovely, well presented, because I pride myself on that. And it just, all the money goes my way, which I know makes it sound like I'm thieving for money, which honestly, I'm not. It's not, I'm not reeling the money in anyway. But it's lovely being able to see lots of people order through the website, and it means a lot. But of course, you can order through many different bookstores' websites: Waterstones, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Blackwell's, Booktopia, I think is one. Yeah, I think honestly, you could just put any of the book titles into Google, and they would turn up at a kind of reputable bookstore website. But if I've got a bit of hair that just won't, can you see this? Is it? It was too annoying. I couldn't do it. But that, I think, is it. I mean, the only other things on here is to tidy my room and to bake a cake, which is exciting stuff. But you can watch me bake the cake on my TikTok, because I will be sure to upload a little video of that. And that is pretty much it. That's all I've done so far. And the only other thing that was really exciting was that on Thursday we took a little trip to Nottingham and we saw Death on the Nile, the Agatha Christie remade theatre performance. None of that was worded right, but you know what I mean. And I can honestly say it was amazing. I have also filmed a little vlog on my TikTok of us going to see that, where I tell you on there that it's amazing, and I think you should go and check it out. So if you're interested and you fancy a little evening out to the theatre, please go and see if Death on the Nile is performing in a theatre near you and get yourself some tickets, because it's amazing. The whole production behind how they represent the boat is amazing. I mean, we saw Murder on the Orient Express, and that was just as mind-blowing as to how they managed to make you feel as if you were on the train. It was really, really good. I get quite excited when they re-put out the Agatha Christie's on stage, because with all the new technology and things, they can make it so much more exciting and so much more immense. And they just seem to get better and better every time I go to see them. So I think you should also keep your eyes out for that. I think The Hollows is touring end of this year into next year, and I will be going to check that out as well. I need to remember what one that is, but I'm going to go check it out, and I think you should too. But that was amazing. And yes, I did at the end manifest maybe seeing my own books on stage one day, but I think we should slow down and maybe not manifest that far just yet. One step at a time. The only other thing to say is thanks for listening, and I'm hoping or manifesting that this year I will reach 100 book sales. And as my book happens to go on pre-order this coming Friday, and it's the same day as my birthday, it would be lovely to hit 100 book sales on my birthday. So if you fancy checking out one of my books, it doesn't have to be the 5th. No, it can't be the 5th because that's not out yet. It doesn't have to be the 4th. You can pre-order that. You can buy the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. I don't mind. They're not a series where you have to necessarily start at the beginning, but it might make sense to. You don't have to follow along starting from book 1, but if you fancy checking out one of my books and you haven't read any so far and you've watched this and you think, I might check her out, please go and head to my website and order yourself a copy of any one of my books. I don't mind which. Book 4 goes on pre-order the 24th of April and becomes available to buy and will be released the 7th of July 2026. Oh my god, that blows my mind! That's so insane. Yeah, but other than that, is there anything else I need to add? Is there anything else I need to add? I don't think so. I think that's it. I think I've covered all my bases. But yes, please go and check out any of my books. If you fancy, if you've already read one and you fancy picking up another one, check it out. I also do a trio book bundle, so you could buy the first 3 books for £25 on my website. But as I say, any kind of support I appreciate so much. Even if it's just watching these, I appreciate it. Thank you, and I will see you next week. Cool. I feel like there was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it is. No. Okay. Cool. I can have a cup of tea now. Unless it's still too hot to drink. I've got to tidy my room now. It's the fun stuff in life, isn't it? Hi. I'm going to watch all this back and hate every single moment of this. I feel like I get in front of the camera and I just see what I mean? Just forget how to speak. It's almost like my mouth works 10 times quicker than any other part of my body. I just can't talk. So I am sorry. This is a cracking cup of tea. I should know because I made it. I've just decided I was having that whole difficulty about I didn't know which part I was going to release this upcoming Wednesday when I release a quote. Oh, okay, never mind, because I've not released a quote from Festive Flower Play yet, and that's this Wednesday. But I think 29th of April, I'm going to release the blurb of Deadly Greetings as the first thing for it. And I've just had that brainwave, so I'm documenting it on here so that I can tell myself in about 15-20 minutes time when I go to edit this. Cool. I'm glad I shared that thought. Okay, I'm going. I'm going to go now. Okay, cool. Bye.